welcome to Let's Pour Up. My name is Colina Bruce. Today I am here with an amazing, wonderful person who I admire, CEO of Blk Sunflower Candle Company, as well as the Academy. Started making candles in 2019, blew up, and has been traveling everywhere here and there, booked and busy, teaching people how to get to their bag. So Jazmin Richards, thank you so much for being here. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling amazing. This is a long time coming.
Oh my God.
I am so honored to be here, to be one of the first few guests on your podcast.
Yes, I'm grateful.
Congratulations on everything you have
Thank you.
achieved.
Likewise.
You have accomplished. I look up and admire to you as well because I know what it takes to be where you're at. And sometimes, like, you post stuff and you're like, hey, you guys, this, you look so happy. But I'm like, I'm going to pray for her.
Please do. All the prayers all the time.
Because I was like, I know what's behind that post.
Yes.
And so you have been killing it.
Thank you.
It's been great. So.
Likewise. I love you. We're going to do a little affirmation shower with each other. Because at this point, I mean, this has been a long time coming. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I always like to start with the moment of meaning. It's a practice that I picked up when I was in the nonprofit sector, and we would open up meetings with just a moment of meaning. Usually it's just like something that brings you joy or inspiration or something. So I brought a quote today that I feel like when I read it, I was like, oh my God, this reminds me of jazz. And you could tell me if it does not resonate. But to me, I was like, this is super dope. Okay. It says, building a brand demands you unlearn, relearn, discard, embody, take risks, and bet on yourself even when things aren't going the way you expected. It's not for the weak and the entitled.
Whew. We ain't got no tissues in here, do we?
Not today, but.
Wow. So, yeah, no, it definitely took a lot. It definitely took a lot of learning, a lot of relearning, a lot of coming to terms with who I thought I was and what I thought I wanted. And the moment I realized that my vision wasn't my vision that I was living out, I had to drop my ego and I had to realize I need to live my dream and not what everyone else perceived that I should accomplish next based upon what they saw.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And so it took a lot, and a lot of people were like, well, what do you feel? What is everyone else going to think? And I became so confident in myself and who I am. I was like, I don't care. I don't care. And so, yes, these past almost going on 4 years now, I've learned more about myself in these past 4 years than most of my life.
Yeah. Well, tell me about it. So I know you started in 2019. Why did you start a candle business, and where are you at now?
Okay, well, I was walking through a random store, and I was in property management, as well as I was a personal trainer.
Okay.
And everyone's getting on my nerves.
Period.
Everybody's getting on my nerves. And I was like, I need a hobby. I need something to do before I choke somebody out. So I was going through this random craft store. I was like, I'm not making soap. That sounds complicated. I'm not making this. That sounds boring. I was like, candles. That sounds easy. I'm just going to pour me a candle real quick. So got the stuff, made some candles, and I would bring them to work. And people, I want one. I'm like, okay, here you go. Here you go. And then people started wanting them.
Yeah.
And so it was August 2019, I started making candles. December 2019, I did my first show, which was Seattle Enchant. Do you remember Seattle Enchant?
Yeah, that's like the light
show.
I never went, but it looked dope on Instagram.
Huge. Didn't even know the capacity of what I was doing.
Okay, so they have vendors there.
And it was a huge show. People were like, you've never done this before? I was like, nope, never done this before. Never sold anything at a show ever in my life. And they're like, oh, wow, this is great. And the fact that I would go there in a day and I would make more than I made in a week at work, listen, they're going to hear it now. I called in. I was like, no, not even called in. I told them I'm going to be in I'm leaving at 3:00 every day this week. And tell me no. I will be gone.
I will leave.
And I did that. It was an amazing experience. And I knew I wanted to start a candle company, but I needed to be perfect, right? Yeah. And I was in a comfortable job. And I actually got my dream job, which was a regional trainer. Everything that I've worked for, I was in property management for 13 years.
Wow.
And I got my dream job. And then the pandemic hit, went to go pick up my son. They were like, hey, don't bring him back. I'm like, well, y'all are supposed to watch him, so what am I supposed to do?
Right. How's this going to work?
So I sat there and I moped. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't work. I need somebody to watch my son.
Yeah.
And I looked at all these candles that were just sitting there and I said, let's just start a website. and I actually used a website called Big Cartel.
Okay, I
Gem,
remember the Big
Gem.
Cartel. Yeah.
Yeah, Big Cartel. It's like free for up to 5 products
Yep.
and $9.99 for up to like 50.
Okay.
And I just took really nice pictures. People even thought, who made your website? And I'm like, it's just a basic website. I didn't do much
like,
with that.
I did that.
Right? In my first week when I launched it, I cleared like $1,500. And I was like, okay, hold on. This is something. And then I think after my second month in, third month, I cleared 10K, and it was just, after that, it just kept going.
Yeah.
Like, I never expected it, but it wasn't just me. Like, there is something greater working in bringing this all together. And a lot of people, we can answer a lot of the misconceptions. People don't realize I've been in business my entire life. Right. I was a hustler, hustling people out of candy on the playground. Like, I was selling candy on the playground. In high school, I would buy fitted caps off of eBay, and I was selling to the guys at school. I sold Mary Kay. I sold Avon.
Listen, you were a young entrepreneur.
I have been an entrepreneur from day one. So a lot of people, when they see Blk Sunflower, they think I just woke up one morning, made candles, build a brand, and it was a success. Mm-hmm. Like, I've been in business for over 30 years, and it took that amount of time for me to see my first 6 figures.
Yeah, and to bring that to fruition, whatever your actual purpose was, because everything else was just practice for what you were supposed to do, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So on that note, I know that we're not doing this conversation in chronological order.
Right.
So what's happening now? I know that you do candles, mm-hmm. but you don't want to be the candle lady.
I don't want to be the candle lady, but you know what? I will gladly accept that title. Yeah. But I want people to understand that more than anything, I am a businesswoman. Mm-hmm. When it came to candles, I was a businesswoman who saw an opportunity. Before I started the candle company, I looked at the data. I looked at the stats. Yeah. I saw what was happening, and I was like, ooh, this looks good. Let me take advantage of this, right? But I really want to spend my time now helping other entrepreneurs achieve that dream. Within the world of social media, there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to building a business and mm-hmm. a brand, and there's a lot of people selling dreams, and it breaks my heart that people are spending all this money and time and feeling bad about themselves because they're not achieving this magical 10K a month that everyone says that's everyone's goal.
Right, yeah.
And I want people to slow down, take a step back, and first and foremost, why do you want to start a business? And mm-hmm. understand a business is not for everybody.
That part.
And once people start to realize it, sometimes you find somebody who's running a business and people don't realize you can be an entrepreneur. You can be an entrepreneur within your corporation that you work for, whatever company you work for. You can go find an entrepreneur and work with them. Yeah. There are tons of entrepreneurs that if you don't like building brands, if it's just not your knack, but you have a skill, whether it's bookkeeping, whether it's creative design, whether it's graphic design, whether it's film, whatever it is, find yourself an entrepreneur and
find a way to monetize what you're already good at.
Exactly.
But I do think that one thing you said was really important. I think that during the pandemic, people were really stuck on this concept of like, oh, if you didn't come out of the pandemic a business owner, you didn't do what you're supposed to do. And I'm like, no, that's not true. Like, if you during the pandemic sat there and took rest, if you took naps that you didn't get to take, if you went to go on walks that you didn't get to go on, like, that is still a win and that's still a success. And, like you said, starting a business is not everybody's desire, nor is everybody good at it. I mean, there's something for everybody, but I just think that there was this misconception that, like, if you didn't figure out a side hustle during the pandemic, you failed. No, it's like, no, actually, that's not true.
Not at all. And I just really want more people to understand that there's more purpose in life than being an entrepreneur. And the fact that the barrier to becoming a business owner is so low.
Yeah.
People forget. You go to school for 4 years for a reason, 4 years plus, because in order for you to be good at it, you have to continue to do it.
Right. So I do think, I think that the barrier for starting is low to a certain degree.
Yeah.
The barrier for actually being able to sustain it, grow it, and, be successful at it is very different because even, if you look at Black women business owners like ourselves, less than 1% of them actually have like equitable access to capital, right? So we don't get, seed funds from our friends and family or whatever. We have to get out there and figure that out. It's either from savings, crowdsourcing, taking out loans, all of that. And so I think a lot of people don't necessarily take that into consideration.
No.
That it takes money to make money,
It does.
and you have to always have access to capital in order to grow your business.
Right. And one of the things when I initially started my business, I did not have the money to start a business.
Yeah.
But because of my business background, I was able to not come up with a method, because this is a method that businesses use. I use pre-sales to build my business. I put something out saying, hey, this is going to be for sale. I let people order it, took that money, bought what I needed.
Yeah.
And I continued to build my business that way until I felt that I needed to keep up with the demand. And
Yes.
you did the grant route. I did the loan route because it was moving so fast.
Yeah.
And I felt I needed to keep up with that.
Yeah.
And oh my God, if I don't make the candles, everyone's going to run away.
Yes.
That was a lesson learned. That was a lesson learned. If I could go back and do it all over again, I would continue to use the pre-sale method, which is what I'm doing now. Like my candles will be sold out and some people are like, oh, you're losing sales. I'm like, okay, that's fine if I lose the sales. I'm not chasing anymore. I refuse to chase the sale. I refuse to take out additional capital and revenue in order to we're going to go back to ego. When I had my shop and I wanted that full shelf stock full of candles to be able to post on social media to say, it's like, ooh, I did it.
Yeah.
And when I really looked into it, I was like,
Yeah.
that was all ego. Like that wasn't necessarily, I didn't need to do that. I could have spent.
Was it something you wanted to do?
I wanted to do because it's the perception. Like, oh, if everyone thinks I made it, let me show them that I made it.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
But on the business side of things, I should have spent half that money on marketing. I could have purchased half the amount of products and spent the money on marketing, and it would have taken me a lot further. But instead, it's like the flash. Let me get the nice car, the nice shoes. It was like that. Like I didn't personally get that with my revenue, but for me, my fancy car, my purse was my shelf full of candles.
Absolutely, yeah.
In my shop, in my fulfillment center. But people don't understand what it takes to keep those going.
Yeah. So speaking of that, we have a segment called Word on the Curb. So Word on the Curb is that you don't like me, girl.
Oh my gosh. Who would say such a thing? How'd you know?
Oh my God.
Not.
Okay, so
oh my gosh.
Really wanted to talk about this narrative that was out there. I think that the way that we got introduced to each other, if we didn't actually take things into our own hands, it could have been like the origin story of like our villain errors.
Exactly. Like each other.
Because I think so often in like specifically with black businesses and Black women, people feel like there can only be one. And so I remember coming into the sector, the industry, and I remember seeing your candles and seeing, there's lots of Black-owned candle brands. But I would see these candles and I'm like, oh, those are dope. And, mine is a little different, whatever. But anytime we'd be, come up in conversation together, it'd be pitted against each other.
Oh my gosh.
And so I recall, I don't remember who made the initial contact on Instagram, but I remember us exchanging messages on Instagram and just being like, hey girl, like I see you, you're dope, keep killing it, vice versa. We started standing each other in the comments and sending each other messages. And then I remember opening up the candle bar and I was in there. It was a crazy day because I was like finishing up this order. And I looked up and you were walking through the door and I was just like, oh my God, that's Chaz. I was like kind of fangirling a little bit because I'm like, oh, I've only seen her on Instagram. But I just thought it was so dope that like you literally, you popped up on me, you pulled up with your kiddo and you were like, yo, like I just came to lay eyes on you and to tell you that I see you and that you're dope and we're both dope and we both can share this space and like nobody's going to pit us against each other. And from then, we've been, we've grown a friendship. We've been accountability partners. We've changed the narrative of what people think it looks like to be two successful brands in the same industry. And so I always want to give you your flowers because I think that's so dope. You did not have to do that. You did not have to come down there and do that, but you did. And it is a core memory for me as a grown-up about what what it could look like to have, sisterhood amongst, fellow
Right.
business owners. So,
Right.
yeah.
One of the examples I like to use, if you go down to the international districts, how many noodle shops are on one
Right.
block?
Yeah.
But people aren't saying, oh, this ramen space, did you see this noodle space down the street? And at the time that you were putting together your candle bar,
Yeah.
I was hosting my first candle bar experience.
Yeah.
So I had marketing and advertising out there. You were getting your name out there. And I would get so many screenshots and pictures. Did you see this? You see her? You see her? And I'm like, yeah, good for her. Like,
Right.
congratulations. Big ups to her. I was like, she's opened an actual candle bar. Like, even though let's not even get to that part. The fact is, yes, we can. Exist in the same space. We can support each other, especially as a business owner. It can get so lonely and so hard. And the last narrative that I ever wanted was people out there thinking that we can't support each other. And the moment we took that picture and posted it, never again.
Oh yeah, because people were like,
anything.
"Oh, this is so amazing!"
Like, didn't you just send me something talking about? Oh, did you see this?
Okay,
I was like,
yes.
Okay, I see you.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, so the picture was you came into the shop, we took a picture and we posted it, and we basically were like, this is what it looks like to be a boss, is to support other bosses, not to put yourself in competition with them.
Exactly. I was proud. I was like, go for it, because I understood how hard it was. I know how hard it was, and I know that what you were going through. And sometimes we just need somebody to tell us, like, you're doing it, girl.
Yeah.
Like, I see you.
Yeah.
And because we don't always get that. And so I was in Seattle all the time, and it's so funny how I think I probably did an illegal turn or something to get to you. I was like, I think it's over here. And I was like, and I kept telling myself every day, I need to get there. I need to go just say hi. I need to say hi. And I was like, I hope she's there that day. And it was like it was supposed to be. And I was so proud of you.
Thank you. Well, I'm always proud of you too, girl.
Yay.
All right. So another word on the curb. I brought these drinks.
Okay.
They're called Hussy.
Uh-huh.
They were created by a Black-owned business, or actually a Black woman who was in the hair industry. And she shared that she had what she would consider to be kind of a challenging relationship with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And so she created these. They're not called mocktails. They're called non-alcoholic cocktails. So the one I brought today is called Powwow Moscow Mule.
Okay.
It says you're supposed to flip it and then sip it.
All right.
And it's supposed to be a healthier option. It says for a buzz without the fuzz. So
yeah, I'm looking at this lion's mane mushroom in here, and the L-theanine. I can never say it right, but those are good.
Okay, great. Well, we're gonna try these. Because we love to support Black women-owned businesses. Oh, yes. Look at me.
Here.
Thank you.
Got the nose here. How about you take mine?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're so sweet. Okay, perfect.
All right. Oh, you got the spring colors too. I got baby spring colors.
Yes, come on. Okay, well, cheers.
All right, cheers. Was it poured up?
Let's pour up, y'all.
Oh, that's actually really good.
That is really good.
It's giving me Moscow Mule.
I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
Oh, I'm ready for the buzz. Where's it at?
Okay, well, if we get through this whole thing on this session, maybe you might get it. Awesome. So another thing I would like to talk about is the concept of being a business owner. I would love to explore what are some of the things that people think come along with being a business owner, and what are some of the realities. So kind of like a Mythbusters kind of situation.
Okay.
I would like to kick this off with a conversation that I had with you recently. And so there was a YouTube channel that reached out recently and wanted to do a show, and I had noticed that you had done the show before me. And so when I was watching their shows, I noticed how often they focused on the numbers and how much money you're bringing in, and, the profit margins and all these things. And to me, I was very leery, and I was just like, oh my God, that's so scary. Like, I don't want to put numbers out there. I don't want to create misconceptions, or what if I say the wrong thing or whatever. But I remember I called you and I was like, hey girl, you did this show. How did you feel about it? and you encouraged me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did it, and it has been overwhelmingly positive. It's been really great. But I also feel like there have been some opportunities for misconception based on either just lack of information or lack of understanding or whatever. And I was like, I need to do like remember when TLC did the math? They was like, if you get this amount, da, 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 da. That's how I feel. So one of the things, the video starts with saying, learn how Colina made almost $600,000. Colina did not make $600,000.
Colina did not.
However, Norlux, the business, has generated, last year we generated almost $600,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did Colina take home $600,000? No. Aside from our rent, our utilities, our marketing and branding, our cost of goods and everything, our payroll alone, because we have anywhere from 8 to 10 people on staff at any given time. Our payroll alone is close to $300,000 a year, right?
Right.
And that is so that we can provide our staff with a livable wage. Now, most of our staff members are part-time, and they work, they have other jobs and they do other things. But I say that to say, like, no, somebody send me a message talking about, let me hold $30,000. I don't have it. I don't have it.
Where? When you find that $30,000, I need you to let me know, because I would like some.
I know that, the numbers are grand and amazing. And, somebody hit my husband up talking about, are you a stay-at-home husband now? No, we're working and we're working hard. I apply for grants 3 to 4 times a week. I am out here, and we've talked about that, but I just think that there's this misconception of like, if you're generating this amount of money, you must be rich. And
girl, I got a white fridge. I have wood baseboards and wood cabinets.
Listen,
I drive
the
most common car. There's a little dent on the side that I refuse to get fixed,
right?
Because the money can go elsewhere.
Okay, and that's the thing. So tell me about. I know for me, my main thing is that I have these expenses outside of being in my kitchen, right? I started in the kitchen and that was cute. But now we have 2 spaces that we're leasing. So we have money going there. And then my biggest concern is always my team, because I'm like, I stay up at night sometimes like, oh man, I hope this order comes through or whatever, because I need to make sure my team gets paid. You know what I'm saying? So what are some of the misconceptions that you think come with being a business owner? And along with that, tell me about like what the expenses and the profit margins look like for you, or just generally speaking.
In general.
Yeah.
So first of all, yes, I think it was my first 6 months. I made my first six figures in 6 months, which is fine and dandy, right? But that all wasn't towards me.
Yeah.
At that time, I ended up getting my space. So people don't realize that's 2 rents, that's 2 internets, that's 2 water bills, that's 2 trashes. I
got 2 rents.
I got all of it. And listen, and people, of course, everyone aspires. Oh, I want my retail space. I want this and that. But you don't think of all the extra costs that come with it. Yep. The fact that yes, you do need to hire people. The fact that I'm a single mom, so I was away from my son, and I had to find a way. I'm driving back and forth. I'll pick him up from school to drive back to the shop to finish whatever order I have to finish.
Yeah.
When it comes down to the marketing, people forget that majority of your money in the beginning needs to go to marketing. And on top of that, this is kind of sidetracked. People really think that when you start a business, majority of your money is going to be a big return on your investment. No, you're trying to get customers in the beginning. And sometimes you're not going to make a big profit from that. Right. And you have to be okay with that. But I really want people to understand that when you're starting a business, you really need to sit back and understand why you're starting this business. Are you doing it for you? Are you doing it for, like I said, for a perception of something else?
Yeah.
And it will tell you where you spend your money. So many people, when I had my shop and I had a fulfillment center, if people understood the amount of output that you need in order to hold up a fulfillment center. So now I'm paying my rent at home. I'm paying rent on a shop, and I'm paying for my fulfillment center, and I'm paying for my shelf space within my fulfillment center.
Right, yeah.
It adds up quickly.
It does. And I think just to kind of touch on another thing you said, like when people see that, Because I remember seeing your video and seeing the fulfillment center, and I'm like, damn, she's doing it, and you are. But also, I think that the social media thing plays into it so much, where you have this, misconception. And I always say social media is the highlight reel, right? Like there are people who get on social media and they cry and stuff like that. And I get it. People go through their range of emotions, but for the most part, they're posting the highlight reels. They're not posting, you hear, oh, she's posting she's in Dubai, but not who she's with or whatever,
Exactly.
who took the picture, whatever. And I think that that's real. A lot of times we see stuff and we're like, oh man, like I need to be doing better.
Or what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, what am I doing wrong or whatever? And I think it's just so important to understand that what is for you is for you. And you shouldn't be, if you're in it comparing yourself to what somebody else is doing or putting yourself in this imaginary competition with somebody else, you're already setting yourself up for failure, because you're never going to attain what you think that they have, and you don't even know what they have.
And you don't even know what I'm doing to keep
that
up
part
with it.
Yeah.
People don't
know
realize
the sacrifices.
I would be in my shop till 2-3 in the morning.
Girl.
When I first got my space, I had a lawn chair in my shop. I would work till 2-3 in the morning. Sleep. Laying back in the long chair for 3 hours to get back up to keep going. In order for me to keep up that output, I was making about 250 candles a day.
Yeah.
Did I ever hire a full staff? No, because like you said, it was hard for me to keep somebody's livelihood, and I wasn't ready for that. And so everybody that I hired, it was on a what's the word? Not commercial, like contractor. It was on a contractor basis, and I let them know. You may receive no hours a week. You may receive 20 hours a week. You may receive 40 hours a week. It depends on the orders that I have coming in.
Yes.
Because you only get paid if I get paid. And half the time, I don't get paid. They get paid first. I think, that's what people don't realize.
That's the thing that people don't realize.
Pay everybody else first. Yeah. And I get the scraps.
And not only that, but like, let's say you do have a really big order, right? Most of the time. Okay, so in our industry specifically with candles, everything is way more expensive. One box of wax is over $100. Your vessels are glass and heavy. Shipping is going to be crazy. Fragrance oils are, there's so many different expenses and costs of goods. But a lot of times, let's say you are getting a $10,000 order, you got to spend $5,000 up front to get everything you need to place that order or to fulfill that order. But a lot of times you get paid on a net 60 or a net 90, so you're not even getting paid till a few months after you've already fulfilled the order.
Exactly.
So people don't realize that either. It's like I'm literally, pulling from the income that's coming in.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Exactly, yeah. Because if you don't have it just sitting in your account, I mean,
where
is it coming from?
Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
There was another thing I was just about to mention. It just slipped my brain. It was about the money when you get started. Maybe it'll come back.
It will come back to you.
But
okay,
just the money that you see, and that's with almost any business. The money that the business generates and what you actually have are two different things. And if you're starting a business just because you want the car, the purse, the shoes, and all that, you ain't gonna be. It's not happening.
So talk about that profit margin, like the revenue versus the profit margin. What does that look like?
So it changed over the course of time. In the beginning, my profit margin, I'll be honest with you, it wasn't that big because I spent a lot of time just acquiring customers. That's how come my business was able to grow so quick. I took a product. I used to have these things called black boxes, where in that black box it would be like a candle, a body scrub, or a body butter, say just little stuff. But there was only like $39 for like 3 or 4 items. So I wasn't making any money, but my goal wasn't to make the money.
My goal was working on acquisition.
Yes, acquisition. And then once I started receiving those customers, they would then come back, they would buy a black box, and they would buy a couple candles on top of that. So
it's like, yes, look at that.
So then the revenue started coming in, and I will say it did allow me, and within this business, people think that, okay, that money's going directly to me. I can always put my money back into my business.
Yeah.
I will honestly say, personally, what do I have to show for all that I've done? I don't have anything physical, but I have a growing business, and that's what's important. If you're really in it to grow a business, you're going to continue to invest that money in the business. And when I realized the business was eating itself, that's when I had to cut back. That's when I got rid of my shop. When I say I love data, I love stats, and I foresaw what was coming, because now, and then we're going to talk about, there's a lot of people that we know that are closing warehouses, closing down shops, not just within the small business world, overall, big corporations. And when I saw, I was like, you know what? It's time to pull out. I got rid of my fulfillment center. I got rid of my shop. I put everything back in my house. But then I realized I want to focus on what I really love. And so profit-wise, yes, as a candle business is very profitable. But you actually mentioned it in your video. You need to have another outlet and a purpose. If you start a candle business just saying, I'm just going to make candles, I'll be honest, it's not going to happen. No. It's not. Especially, yes, the market is very saturated. That's why you have to find what's your niche. And then my niche, let's say, is helping other candle businesses brand and make it there. Yours is giving these experiences. And what I love about it is we have the opportunity to explore what works for us. So like I did my candle bar and I was like, you know what, this is cool, but I don't want to do it anymore. Colina's here, she can get it done. Like if they want it. And I've sent so many people to you because I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. They're like, are you gonna do another one? No, but you can go see Colina. She does them like every day. I receive 7 days a week because not me.
And vice versa. We'll, we have some stuff coming up that we'll talk about too, but we're able to kind of pull on each other's expertise and desires of what we really want to do. I do want to say that yes, a candle business can be profitable. Generally speaking, I would say my profit margin is typically between 30 and 40%, so it's not a huge profit margin off of whatever is coming in. And a lot of businesses, when they first get started, they're not in the green, that first 1, 2, maybe even 3 years, So to anyone that is out there that's like, dang, I'm still not seeing, what I thought I was going to see, or, whatever, like, don't compare yourself to what you see on social media or what you see on Instagram. Look at the numbers, really look at the data, really think about your projections, and always be open to thinking about multiple streams of revenue, because that's really how you're going to kind of find your lane.
And let's be honest, most of your money does not come from your website. It comes from corporate contracts, wholesale. Spend your time nurturing those relationships, networking, getting your name out there on that. I mean, there are tons of stores, tons of gift shops that would be happy to have your stuff in there, but you can't be afraid to ask. If you chase your candle business, or honestly right now, any business off of getting the one sale here, one sale there, I'm going for the 100, 200, 500, 1,000 orders. Like those are the ones that are going to bring me in the money. And quite honestly, those are a lot easier because you're just doing the same thing.
I love it.
Right? I love those. I'm like, okay, you want 500? Bet I can do that.
So since you know everything, we are going to talk about branding and marketing, because that is an area where you are excelling. And not only are you excelling, but you are showing other business owners how to do it, regardless of what industry or sector they're in. I think that one thing that has been really cool about our relationship is that we've been really committed to making sure we are not gatekeeping information. And if we even, within with each other, but also like within our space, if we're in space for other folks, we're answering questions or we're having conversations to try to put people's names in the room when they're not there and that sort of thing. And so I think that that's a part of what your business model is right now, is not only being an expert on what you do and how you've grown your business, but sharing that expertise with others. So what is the one single most important thing that anybody should think about or consider when it comes to branding and or marketing their business?
The question I've been having people ask themselves lately, look at whatever, if you've already started something and you're selling, you're having a hard time, look at it. If you walk past it in the store, would you actually buy it? And there's so many people who hesitate. And if you hesitate, the answer is no. That means you need to go back to the drawing board and look at your branding. What is your story? What's your vision? A lot of people with small businesses, they feel that I don't need a mission statement. I don't need core values. It's extremely important to have a mission statement, have core values. Because just as you as an individual, you know what you will stand for and what you won't stand for. You need the same thing in your business. So you know who I'm going to work with, who I will not work with. One of the mistakes that I made, I had these beautiful boxes. Love my boxes to death. But I'm a hippie at heart and I do not like being wasteful. And it broke my heart every time I'm packing it, putting it in the box. I'm like, they're just going to throw this away. Like, my carbon footprint is ridiculous. For me to be cute, I'm just throwing stuff away left and right. And so, yes, it was a part of my brand. It created something, but it wasn't true to who I am. Yeah. And then going back to spending time and actually branding your business. For me, the name Blk Sunflower was extremely thought out. Like, my whole thought process, I wanted a name that when somebody thought about it, they go, Like, literally, that was like, you remember things that make you go, Yeah, that was it. And every time from the moment I came up with the name, people were like, Blk Sunflower. That's the exact reaction I get.
You're like,
I was like, yes, I did it. Down to the colors and even down to your labeling. A lot of people say, oh, well, I don't have the money to start a business. If you're going to spend money somewhere, spend money on your branding.
Absolutely,
spend the money on your branding, on your labels, on your presentation. Because a lot of times you only have one chance to win somebody over. Yeah. And especially I don't care whatever market. I think most markets are saturated right now.
Absolutely,
and you have to find your way to stand out. And if initially looking at your product, it doesn't evoke some sort of emotion, if you're not solving a problem for somebody, if your brand is not solving a problem and you're just making something to sell something, all I have to say is good luck.
And you talked about having your core values and your mission statement, and I think it's important because you want your brand to be able to articulate that, but those are the things you also want to operate from every single day, right? You know, when you think about your own personal life, this is an activity that I've done in the past. You know, you sit down and you write down, what are all the things that bring me joy, or what are all the things that I value, or, you know, whatever in my life, and then narrow that down to 3 or 5 things and think about what are those things and how do I make sure that I'm operating from those spaces every single time. Like you said, when I'm making decisions, when I'm doing things, I want to operate from a place of love. What does that look like? I want to operate from a place of grace. What does that look like? And it will help you make decisions about who you're working with. And, you know, if you're operating from a value of sustainability, you got to go back through your whole, your inventory, your product SKUs and everything. And if your brand is based on sustainability or eco-friendly products, what does that look like?
Yeah, I felt like a fraud. I'm like, oh my God,
it's real,
sustainable, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But here, throw this box away. I was like,
you have to take a, introspective look at, you know, not only yourself, but your brand and your company. And are you living out the things that you're saying you are?
Yeah. So solve a problem, really focus on your brand. Yeah. And be true to your business and within yourself. Yeah. When you're starting a brand, the beginning is the most important part because that's going to carry you on. I've been featured in both of us. We've been featured in tons of publications. Yeah. Between the both of us, I don't know if we can even count.
Here.
We can't even count, right?
I mean, you were featured in a publication yesterday.
I was.
What publication was it?
Elle. Elle shows me so much love. Yes. They really do. And what's even funnier about that is my candles have actually been sold out for the past month on my website because I've been focused on the education piece. Yeah. And I now make candles once a month. Yeah. And when they're there, they're there, and when they're not, they're not. Yeah. And the fact that I was still recognized within that space means so much. And number one out of 30. Out of 30. Yes. Out of 30. And that's not my fault. I was like, oh, thank you. But it's just, it's just really a blessing to have those opportunities and be put in spaces and places that allow that. And a lot of people think, oh, you just get featured. No, that's down to your brand. It's your brand.
Absolutely.
And it's not just, oh, I'm going to make something, all of a sudden it's going to feature me. No, you're put up against hundreds of thousands of other brands that want that space. Right. And it comes down to who had their branding and their story together.
And that's huge. The story is huge because I think a lot of times when you are in a market that's saturated, as many are, what sets you apart, aside from your brand, well, your story is your brand, right? Like people have to be able to believe in whatever you're selling. And you're selling a story with every single item that you're selling too. Yeah. I'm just going to have you pull a few cards.
Okay, what's my destiny here? All right.
This and maybe like pull, okay, go ahead.
Ooh, which of your personality traits would you like to change?
Hmm.
This is a good one. It's actually one that I've been focusing on changing over the past about year or
Mm-hmm.
so, is where being a woman, being a Black woman, being a saleswoman,
Mm-hmm.
I had the hi guys, how are you doing today?
Yes.
I had that for so long, and I went through this space of healing and really finding out who I am. And one day I woke up and realized I didn't know who I was because I was always presenting myself as somebody that's safe, that's comfortable, and I want somebody to buy something from me, so I want them to like me, right?
Right.
And then one day I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. So I've actually talked to people who have known me for years, like, Jazmin, even your voice has changed because I'm not working to make people feel comfortable in my space.
Yeah.
Either you're comfortable in my space or you're not. I lead with love. I lead with kindness. I lead with grace, but I'm also going to be real in the same token and not being afraid to hurt people's feelings. And so over the past year, that's something that I've been working on, is being who I am.
Yeah.
And not being something that society needs me to be in order to feel comfortable.
That part.
Yeah.
Amen. Okay, I'm gonna pull one.
All right.
Which celebrity do people say you resemble? Beyonce, duh. I've never had anybody. Oh, I guess back in the day, people used to say I looked like Tinashe.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know.
I can see that.
People don't. I don't really look like.
So I know
anybody.
that's yours, but mine's is funny. You want to hear what mine
Yes,
is?
I do. What is it?
Remember the Players Club?
Yes.
Who do I look like from the Players Club?
I was gonna say, don't say Ebony. Who is
yes,
it?
everybody used to always say all through high school. They're like, "Hey, Ebony."
Oh,
I'm like,
my
"Oh my god!" See, you called it.
I mean, well, I was thinking, I was like, Diamond,
and now that I cut my hair,
Ebony. I know. Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I used to get Ebony all
That's
the
so
time.
funny.
Not as much. Lately I get, what's that girl from She's Gotta Have It?
Oh God,
forgot her name, but she was in Jurassic World Dominion too. I forgot her name.
Okay,
but
yeah,
that was the other one. But Ebony one always got me.
That is so funny.
What was the best vacation you ever took?
Ooh,
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't taken a vacation worth like saying, "Oh, this was the best," but it's to come.
Okay, let's talk about this.
Yeah, this is.
Have you done any out of the country vacations? Okay, so you need to do that, and you need to do it all inclusive.
Okay, what do you recommend?
Well, I don't necessarily have a particular preference when it comes to all inclusives or places. The places that I love that I've had a lot of fun are Jamaica, DR, and Mexico.
My goal is Costa Rica.
Okay, I've never been.
Costa Rica
yeah, but I would say if you do an all inclusive, once you get there, everything's included, and you just get
relax.
up and you just do your thing, and you don't have to worry about too much. You can still, venture off and stuff like that. But
so part of my problem was I focus so much on work.
Yeah.
Work, and I don't stop and take a moment to get away.
Yeah.
And so that one's, why are these hitting
Okay,
strings?
so here's the thing. I remember the first vacation that I took 4 months into opening the shop was our first family trip out of the country to Mexico. And my phone was ringing the entire time. Like, people were like, how do we, and what do I, and da-da-da. And it was not a vacation. Like, literally, like, it was so hard. Yeah, it was like messed up because I was like with my family and I was trying to enjoy the time, but then I also literally was trying to connect to Wi-Fi the whole time so that I could talk to people in the shop. And so, I just vowed to myself that would never happen again. I'm like, we spent too much time planning for this. We spent too much money. Like, our whole family was there. And so it's hard to do when you own a business because you feel like you said, if you turn your phone off, you're going to miss an opportunity, or if something doesn't happen right away and there's urgency around it, then it's a failure, whatever. But one thing that I've learned that I've am really excited about is that I've been able to hire someone who can help pour candles. That was like the
I remember when you told me that. You're like, I have somebody that pour my candles.
I know, and it's changed my life because I literally forever was like, I have to pour all the candles, and
no one else can
do it like me, and like I don't want like the labels to be crooked, and I don't want and it was so obsessive, and I'm a perfectionist, but at the same time, it is my brand. And so I was like, I'm sending this out into the world. I want it to be amazing every single time.
Exactly.
But what I found was that I was creating opportunities for my staff to not grow, and they thought I didn't trust them.
Yep.
You know, and so rather than just, you know, when you are giving somebody constructive criticism or redirecting them, sometimes you're like, I could just do this myself, you know, and that's that ego, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So sometimes you have to step out of your own way
to move forward. So one thing I did do is what I realized in this reconstructing of my life within business, because let's be honest, we all started business because we want to live the life we want to live. Yeah. We want to go on vacation.
I'm waiting.
And next thing you know, you're working 40 hours to working 140 hours, right? So I really sat back. I was like, hold on, this is not working. And so part of the me pouring candles once a month is I am now structuring my life to live the life I wanted to be as an entrepreneur. And it's happening. Like, I work probably 80% less than I did a year and a half ago. Like,
teach me your ways.
Girl, it's life. And you know what? Part of it is the education piece. Like and you have a background in education. Like you did definitely find this niche with the candle bars and things like that. But I personally feel that you have a bigger opportunity to reach more people and free up more time for yourself while generating additional revenue. And that's what I've learned to do with myself, because I was like, you know what? I don't want to pour candles forever. The joke is, even before I started making candles, I maybe purchased 10 candles my entire life. When I say I was a businesswoman who saw an opportunity, that is me. But then also finding ways, like now I have my body oil. So much easier to make. Less products, because I was like, once the price of wax went up 125%,
it's insane.
That's cute. I don't want to do this anymore. Let me out.
And the 50-pound boxes of wax and everything else. So speaking of the body oil, where is it, girl?
I got some honey right here.
Okay, tell us about it.
Some honey. So yes, so I've actually had the body oil formula for years. It's the same oil that I use in my the body butters. And people would always just, oh my God, I love it, but it takes so much to make that I just don't make a lot of it.
Okay.
So then I had to find the right fragrance. I don't think you've actually tried it before, have
you?
I
haven't. No, it's my first time.
Okay. All right. So I call it honey because the first time I smelled the scent, I said, ooh, honey.
Honey.
And so it's more than a body oil. It is a fragrance enhancer. So we know how we like our fragrances, but let's be honest. When you walk past somebody says, ooh, is that Calvin Klein? Or ooh, is that Giorgio Armani? Ooh, is that Gucci? Ooh, is that Prada? Like, yes, it is, but I really don't want to smell like everyone else. This not only changes the fragrance, it enhances whatever fragrance you already have.
Oh, nice. So, look at God. Okay.
All right, we're going to give you that.
Thank you. Okay, come on. Shimmer and moisture.
Wait, shimmer and moisture, and you're not oily. Look, disappeared.
It did. It just went right. Does that mean I'm dry?
No, that means it's working right.
Because it went right on.
It went right on.
Pause. No, it didn't.
Right.
Oh, okay. I know this is probably proprietary. What are we smelling?
We're smelling a jasmine, vanilla,
jasmine, of course,
bergamot, because bergamot, everyone loves a bergamot, right? And a little bit of cedarwood.
I love it.
So it's a unisex, and fun. I use it from head to toe. What is it? Besa uses it in her hair all the time. She was like, girl, I used to press my hair. I'm like, girl.
Okay. It just be sizzling while she putting it in there.
She's like, I love it. But that's my baby.
Bomb. Okay.
And when it goes down to, and that's one thing I have to say about you. When I see, from the business perspective, when I see all the candles you have, I'd be like, oh my gosh.
It's so many, girl. I know. I break out in hives. Like, it's like, so I have this like relationship with the candles that I'm like, it's so good. And if I take it out, somebody's gonna, ask for it. I mean, but I've been doing better.
I had to break away. I had 25 fragrances one time. I think on my website now I have 4. And I was like, it is what it is.
So, and that's the thing. I'm like, I want to have something for everybody, but at the same time, it is very hard to manage.
As a business, one thing I really had to learn, and I think a lot of people understand, you can't please everyone. Somebody's going to always
That's a lifelong
listen, you can't please everyone. Somebody's going to always be disappointed. And I wouldn't even call it disappointment, because let's be honest, if you don't have a fragrance they don't like, they're not disappointed. It's like, a blurb in their life and then they
Yeah,
moved on.
right.
But
Yeah.
you, on the other
But
hand,
I'm
trying to keep up with all of it. Yeah, you're
Exactly.
crushed. And you're like, oh my God, let me make this candle. So
Oh,
now
yeah.
this is one of,
And they have
how
not
many
even,
fragrances do you
oh,
have?
girl, I don't know. It's a lot. It's probably over 50.
How
at
do you come up
least.
with your names?
I talk to the candles. No, I'm just kidding. I always, even from when I started, I think about like the vibe that it gives me. So like, scent is tied to memory and your brain and all that stuff. And so I smell something and I'm like, oh, this gives me, or like, oh yeah, and then I think about that. My first collection was during the pandemic, of course. And so it started with things that we were missing. Dear Summer, I Miss You is what it was called. So Seattle Summer. Yeah, it was. It was like Seattle Summer. Like I miss all the bite of Seattle and the Blue Angels. And I wanted to feel that when I lit that candle. Namaste Home. So those were the, vibes. And I just kind of have gone from there every time.
Nice. Yeah, that was the question I always get. How do you come up with your names?
Everybody always asks that. Yeah, so, okay, I'm going to put one more card. And then this one says, do you possess any of the qualities of your astrological sign? So I'm not into astrology like that. I honestly thought that I was a water sign forever. I'm an Aquarius.
I was going to say a Pisces or Aquarius.
I'm an Aquarius. I thought I was a water sign because it had the little, but apparently I'm an air sign, and I just found this out, like, I don't know. So anyways, no, I don't know. I mean, well, I guess Aquarius folks they tend to be creative, kind of free-spirited. We tend to be very stubborn.
You guys are very mellow. I've never met a crazy, wild Aquarius. Like,
okay.
I don't know much about them, but the ones that I do know, you guys are just like, I'm going to sit back and watch
chill, observant. I do know that Aquarians tend to be more into like words of affirmation and areas of service in their life. I think that I've fit that. I'm definitely a words of affirmation and quality time person in terms of my love languages. What about you?
I'm wild and crazy. I'm an Aries.
Oh gosh, my best friend is an Aries.
Yeah, so you already know about us.
Drives me crazy.
We are a piece of work, but we are the most loyal. Like, we will go to the ends of the earth for you, but go ahead and hit me wrong. Do me wrong, and you will regret that you knew me.
Yeah, no, that's real. That is very real.
I live up to it to the T.
Yeah. Okay.
But I love it.
That's real. All right. Well, we are going to wrap up with, actually, did we touch everything we wanted to talk about?
Let's see. We talked about, oh, no.
We have an announcement.
We have not. Well, no. We have
to
do the one thing. We have so you think you know everything. This was very important. This was, Listen.
Okay.
So. I'll let you ask it in the most PC way possible.
Okay. Well, my question to you. So, going back to this conversation we had around this, when you put yourself out there and you're telling your story, right? And if you're telling it on your website or on your social media page or whatever, you kind of have control over how to tell the story. You kind of know what your audience is going to be, that sort of thing. Whereas, if someone else is telling your story or featuring you or highlighting you, spotlighting you, whatever, you really don't know how that's going to be received. You don't know how they're going to share it. You don't know what that's going to look like. And so a lot of times there's this, I don't know if it's imposter syndrome or if it's just angst about like, what will people say? What will people think? And so recently with the publication that was put out, I know for myself, I experienced some really kind of vile comments about my race and, pretty girl privilege being one thing, but also being a Black person. It must be nice to get your business boosted from being Black, or, oh, look at all that fake hair, or, oh, all these other things that had nothing to do with the 30 minutes that they spent talking about my business, my challenges, my successes, my, grief, my, all these other things that made up the complexities of how I got to where I was. They spent time talking about how I looked, me being Black and all of that. So have you experienced those sorts of things? And if so, how do you respond to them? Because I
don't know what to do.
No, I'm in the comments and I'm like, I'm ready. But then I'm like, it's just.
So, same publication, same comments. First of all, I don't respond to them. One is because why are you going to spend time stressing over somebody who will not even show up to your funeral?
Mm.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to waste my time and energy. Two, the people who do see it, they will comment back for you.
Yeah, there have been people popping off in the comments.
Comment back for you.
Yeah.
And why I refuse to give that sort of negative energy my attention, especially when the majority of the energy that is put out there is positive.
Yeah.
Now, I will address it here in this one time only. I'm not going to say it again. But for the people who say that we got to where we're at, not because of our branding, not because of our hard work, not because of the quality, but just because of the color of our skin, fail to realize the number of people just like them who will even look our way because of the color of our skin.
Yeah.
And the challenges that we face from, just like you said, even when it comes to opening doors, loans, from history and having access to money from family, things like that. And we have to find ways. As Black people, we've been finding ways on our own for years.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, you've had the head start, and now that I'm making do with what I have now,
right,
I pray for you. I pray for you. And I know for a fact that I have no reason to lie. Both of us are extremely transparent.
Yeah.
We really don't gatekeep. We have to keep the little things to ourselves because it's our business, right? But for the majority of it, we don't gatekeep. If people ask us a question, we're going to answer it. We're going to celebrate it. Even when you came to me saying, hey, Jazmin, should I do this? I said, yes.
Yeah.
You do it. And you said, well, what about they just did it with you, or people? And I think somebody mentioned that in your comments too. They just did it with another lady up there. It was the same thing. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
It doesn't matter. But when it comes down to it, when I feel down or I have imposter syndrome, I actually go back to those comments and I read all of, like, that's what keeps me going, because there are people that are looking to you. There are people who are inspired by you. There are people that keep going because of you.
Absolutely.
And with that, I was like, am I going to let these few comments here or there? I have no idea what's going on in those people's lives.
Right.
That has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue living the way I'm living, because when it comes down to it, God knows what's in my heart and knows what my purpose is. And the people that surround me and actually know me know that as well. And if they took enough time to actually sit down and listen to what you had to say, they would see that from me too. But they're going to be blind. You can't make people understand things that they don't want to.
Yeah.
Period.
Absolutely.
So taking the time to argue with people is not going to get us anywhere.
That part.
So, yeah.
I'm working on that.
It's hard.
You know, sometimes if I get like a bad review or 3 stars or something, I'm like, I'm trying to, like, you know, but it's hard because you work so hard, and you just want people to love it and receive it the way that you're putting it out there. But at the same time, I mean, everything that you said is true. I think that, you know, one of the comments that bothered me was to say that as a Black business, I was able to use being a Black business as a marketing strategy. And I'm like, being a Black business is not a marketing strategy. It's something that I'm very proud of, because less than 15% of businesses in America are Black owned. So yes. And I'm going to always, you know, stand on business in that regard, but that doesn't define who we are and what we do.
And let's be honest, neither of us lead with that.
Right, yeah.
When I'm networking, where I'm pitching, things like that.
I mean, I show up Black, because that's who I am.
I'm not like, hi, my name is Jazmin.
Right.
I'm the owner of Blk Sunflower. I'm Black.
Yeah.
And I do this, I'm Black. Like, I don't say that.
Yeah.
I let people, I show up as who I am, and I let people receive me as they are. It's people with the comments like that, that's the first thing that they see.
Yeah.
I can't help that.
Right.
I can't help that. And it's one of those that you are worthy. You're here for a reason, and you're going to continue to be blessed with these things because of the energy that you put out there, and nobody can take that from you.
Period. We're holding up a mirror right now.
Yes.
Come on.
There we go.
We also wanted to share that this summer, fall, spring, what did Sheree said?
Summer, spring, fall.
We're planning to do something together.
Yes. So one of the things we've talked about it for over a year, but I think it's really time. And now that we say it publicly, it has
We're
to be done.
speaking it. It has to be done.
We want to host a Pacific Northwest Candle Fair.
Yeah.
And so this is more of a testament to that we can all exist in the same spaces and be successful and bring together not just the experience of your candle bar, but also allowing other candle people to show up and vend
Yeah.
and share their gift. And then candle lovers from the Pacific Northwest can come through and experience all these amazing candle makers and what they have, because there's a lot of great people out there
Yeah.
that just need a little bit of push and exposure. And as I know what it feels like, and sometimes you just need to put your hand down and come on guys, let's go. And so I think it's going to be exciting. I know it's going to be exciting.
How we wrap up is with affirmations.
Okay.
I have these cards.
Yes.
They're called Listen Bitch. They are by a Black-owned brand.
That is so cute.
You do not have to say the B word if you don't want to. You can say listen queen, listen sis, listen lady, listen ma'am. But I want you to read it out loud to Jazmin.
All right.
Whatever you pull.
Ooh. Listen, bitch. There is no such thing as the right time. Trust yourself and do it.
Amen.
I love that.
Does that resonate with you?
All the time, especially as an Aries, especially, I'm not sure if you're familiar with, what is it? Human design. There we go. I'm a manifesting generator. So I come with an idea and I do it. And a lot of the people that I work with aren't like that.
Yeah.
And just telling people you can always fix it later.
Yeah.
What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to fall on your face. You're going to stand back up and we're going to continue.
Right.
Just do it. Stop being afraid. So I also want to give it to you. I'm proud of you for doing that. That publication, because I know that was hard for you.
Oh yeah, it was hard, girl. It's still hard. I literally I lost sleep about after when it came out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, me too. To be 100% honest with you, I was nervous for you because I knew you were nervous.
Yeah.
And even after I knew it was out, when I sent you congratulations, I didn't even watch it then. I was like, let me wait a little bit. Let me wait a little bit and watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm grateful. I think that, I say this all the time, but I can't expect other people to always understand me or my vision because God gave it to me. He didn't give it to them.
That part. And
so I received that and I know that. And I try my hardest to come from a very humble place and a very, a place of just knowing that I don't know everything. I'm still learning. I'm a lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm.
But that I know the value of who I am and what I bring to the table, and I know the value of my brand. And so if I can articulate that in a way that people can access it and gain something from it, whether it's inspiration, whether it's happiness, when you get the sis, I don't even know you, but I'm proud of you. Those things bring me joy and take me to the next level of letting go of imposter syndrome. Yeah. But I think it will always be present to some degree.
I think it is, especially when you're humble. That's what I've realized. And I do these calls, and every day people tell me, I get my emails, my DMs, people always saying, you're so amazing. Thank you so much. I'm like, you guys know I can barely walk and chew gum at the same time. What are you talking about? But that has nothing to do with you. How people see you, you have to accept it. And it is really hard. But, when you're humble, and I think it's truly in your heart. Yeah. Sometimes you don't even want to really be acknowledged for it. There's so much stuff that I do that I never even share. There's so many people that I've helped that nobody will probably ever know about but them, because I'm not here for the clout. I'm here because I have a purpose to serve, and it makes me feel good. If we didn't need money in this world, I would still be doing things. Well, I probably wouldn't be making as many candles. But when it comes to educating and helping other business owners fulfill their dreams, exact same thing I would be doing right now.
Yeah. And I think as Black women, we need to learn how to take compliments.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when people give us compliments, we're already thinking of
yeah, but
I'm the awkward, you're oh, your shirt's cute. I'm I got it from,
yes, me too.
Nobody asked you where you got it from.
It's oh, your hair's nice. Yeah, I had a hard time with it.
It's just say thank you and move on. Yeah. But I do want to say thank you to you for coming and sharing space. I know you have your own podcast, and I'm going to be a guest on your podcast at some point. But thank you so much. You are a gem. And any plug before we head out?
If you're looking to build your brand, if you need some more help, guidance, you know what? I don't like to sell people. Just visit Blk Sunflower Co. on Instagram, see what I do. And if it's for you, all the other information you need will be there. I feel that you'll be pushed in the right direction. And if I'm for you, I'm for you. If I'm not, I'm not. But I'm here to help.
And if God is for me, no one can be against
exactly, me. Period. Yeah, you're just amazing. I appreciate
Likewise.
you.
Thank
We're
you.
kind of stuck with each other.
We are. We are the candle ladies.
Yeah, we are the candle ladies, and that is. I am forever
Cheers.
going to be happy.
Yeah.
For that. Cheers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's a wrap, guys.